I painted this recently in watercolour, and I'm going to have a go now in oil. It's going to be quite interesting to make a comparison between the two mediums, but I'm thinking it might be more vivid perhaps if I do it with oil. So I'm going to have a go, and of course I've got to get the balance, these darks. It's got to be dark enough to emphasize that, but not too dark. I think I did it rather too dark in my watercolor, so I'm going to have a go. So I'm going to start with the darks, with the dark bands really, and then come to the lights and the lighter areas, and then the very highlights with some really, I want to get some really bright colors in there. This piece of land along here with these hotels and restaurants and some beautiful colors there, this lovely purple. So let's get on with that. I'm going to I'll just sketch it out. I'll get a little round brush here, and we'll just start off with a little bit of sienna, I think, or umber perhaps, just so we can get a sort of a map of where I'm going with this. I think we'll get our horizon along here. And we've got the dark of the key area coming here, and hillside here with the covered in woods, with a few houses with their lights showing there, of course. But the main feature is the Gorey Castle here, which is in Jersey. So just going to, it's just slightly off center, so just leave it like this. We've got to get some lights in here as well. I think I need to step that, because I'll be dark, make this all dark, so I'll be able to shape this a little bit better if I wish. But let's just get some shape there. Some broad outline of the battlements. But along here, of course, is the this line of restaurants and all lit up, just at dusk really, and got some dark areas coming in here. Well, dark, it's all dark to some extent, but darker bit of land there. This will be dark, and we've got a little bit of wave form there. Just again, just reminders at the moment. So there we have, we've got houses here, some lights as well on the hillside. So I've got to try and capture that. So I'll keep those lights at the moment. Then we'll do some blocking in with some darks. So I'm going to do that with quite a big brush here. In fact, I think I'll zoom up a little bit. So we'll leave it there. Right, let's get some darks in. So we've got to start with, well, I've got a whole range of water mixable oils here. I've got cadmium red, ochre, magenta, just down here, burnt umber, orange, some, oh, what's that? That yellow, I've forgotten that now for the moment. Viridian there, cerulean, ultramarine blue, and a little bit of ivory black. So I'll use that sparingly, but let's get a nice... I want to keep it fairly thin for the time being, not very thick paint. So I'll have opportunity to paint over it and adjust it as I go. This is going to be a rapid blocking, really. It's on a canvas panel here. I think, oh, it's about 16 by 14, I think. So I've got to get rid of all this white initially, so we can see where we are. Yes, I think I'm going to get through quite a lot of blue in this painting. This is ultramarine. Put a bit of black in it now, a little bit of ivory black there. Right. which I've got some, what do we call it? Paint, not thinner. It's the gel. I can never remember the name. It is Liquid, of course. Liquid Original. That's really handy because it helps your, if you've got a bit of quite a lot to cover, it will help it spread a little bit. Come off your brush. A little, and it helps drying as well, actually. Not so important when you're in the studio, but could be handy if you're out on plein air doing this. Right, and even this bit of the hillside is dark, of course. You can't really see any greens in there because of the dark, but there's vegetation there. Right. So this is quite thin at the moment. Quite thin paint. We need a bit more liquid. See what we can do here. Of course, we've got to get the sea in as well. Got to map out these dark areas initially. Just trying to preserve some of the areas where there is going to be light, street lights and neon horn advertising, and but mainly I've got to get the houses, get something to help that read as their light appears in the dark, peering out. come back with a much smaller brush later, I think. Let's just get this out. I'll be defining these black areas much better a little bit later. Quite a black area just comes in here. Only little spots of light through this. Right. And there's quite a difference. This part of the sky is going to be lighter than around here. I have to get those tones right. Not right at the moment, they're just purely blocking it in. I think I'll switch off the camera in a moment. You've probably seen enough of this for the moment, and then come back when I'm a little bit further on. Well, I'm back again now. As you see, I've blocked it in quite a fair bit, and got some lighter bits of sky here with a little bit of cadmium mixed in with my blue there. So I've got to try and keep that light because I want it to contrast with the dark of the sky there. I've also got a few streaks of light in the bay here. I'm going to put those in with a bit of colour as well. And so let's actually, before I do that, I'm just wondering, have I got the shape of the castle right? Have I blocked it in? So I think I've been a little bit too yes, I think I've blocked it down a little bit too far. So I'll take a bit of tissue with a bit of spirit on and see if I can lift that out a little bit. It is very imposing. Actually, if you go to Jersey, you'll see this castle. It does tower above this bay and this Gorey, this little village here. So I think I have to raise that up a little bit. It's a good thing with with oil. You can erase it with a little bit of rag or tissue. All is not lost by any means. Right, let's leave that for the moment. And I think perhaps I should let's go in and put some colour in right away. It will help me see the layout a little bit better, I think. I think this think it's going to take quite a lot of refining. I tend to do it all in one session, but I'm really wondering whether I can with this. So I've got a little bit of cadmium yellow here. So let's just map in a little bit of the castle with some lighter tones. Of course, I'll vary that yellow. I've just put a bit of ochre there. Let's just see if we can get some of the shape going. So these are all floodlit. Areas. So this is just a broad map, really, I think, of my castle structure. We need to raise that a bit. So I'm using a bit of ochre here, a little bit more height on this structure, I think. Sort of ochre here. I want to preserve down here, so to put some really vivid lights. When we're up the that stage, we could put some ochre lights in here. I'll try and make them, well, actually you can't see it this time of night. There's just lights, really, with a slight hint of windows and architecture. A few lights there, and I've got some Naples yellow here. I couldn't remember it earlier. Put some of that. Can you see Naples yellow there? It's a lovely colour. Nice and not too vivid, but I mix a bit in there with a bit of ochre. Get some highlights there. I think we could put some lights in here. Little bits of yellow. Some lights in the headland here. Just on the harbour there. But I will brighten them up with some whites in the centre of the lights. But I've got to shape out this as well. A long way from getting that correct. It's the usual thing with painting, oils. So you've got to be patient. Looks ugly for some time, quite often. See, I need to define this with some darks. Just looks like a blob at the moment, but you'll see it will gradually evolve. left some lights here in this hillside. Try and suggest some of these lights from these buildings here. Right. So I think we ought to get some darks into this so I can see a little bit where I'm going with the shape of the castle. And this is better. We can put some greens in there as well. Change it up a little bit. And along here. Behind those houses on the waterfront there's some trees. So I've got to get that in. I've got a little ledge up here. Battlements. So this is a medieval castle. Built in 11 something, I think. We'll get some sort of fine details in. We'll kind of hint at some windows, I think. We should come in with some smaller brushes a bit later. Let's just try and come down here a little bit. So this is a harbour, along here and a harbour wall. So we've got to get some more darks in here actually. Let's get a mixture of that viridian. Kill off some of this. Yes. Got some viridian and ultramarine there. I need to darken up. So I use a bit of that ivory black. How much light do I leave showing in these areas? That's the key. Some forms to kind of suggest the houses. Right. Right. Now I need to sharpen up that edge a little bit there. Right. Right, where do we go now? Should we try and put some different colours into the water as well? So let's clean off this brush, and I've got to keep those colours bright. I've got some magenta here as well. I could try that. Let's see what I can do with it. Oh yes, there's some lights along here. And then we've got a few reflections in the water as well, and some lovely purples. Purple colours, I think. Little reds. Some purple, magenta again. Get some nice little hints of blue. A little bit more greys out here. Let's see, perhaps I need a few lights in here as well. Some nice orange as well. I think we need to put a few of those in. They're too far away for you to put any fine detail in. You could read as a house. You wouldn't be able to do that, I don't think. It's not going to show. We're going to put some more here. Oh yes, that Naples yellow is really handy, suggesting some lit warm lights there. And we've got to put some reflections in. You see here, from this building here. And we've got some lots of waves as well. Got some lights along here, reflecting the shop lights along here. That's it. A little bit there. And oh yes, we've got some orange lights coming here, reflecting from here. They come right out here. Bit more yellow, a little bit of orange. It's a fine judgment. How much do we put in? You don't want to overdo it. And we need, let's get a little bit of red in there, that water. Right. Now, I've left some whites there. Should I do some more shaping of green here? Perhaps I should. There, I think. A little bit of blue into it, make it read. And little bits of detail in the castle there. Right. I'm just wondering, I think perhaps I need to darken up in between these lights here. Help emphasize the lights from their rooms there. If I don't darken it up, it won't really read properly. So let's just put a bit of purple in some of these places too. That's it. I think I need to put a little bit more white along that edge there. But let's put a bit of purple in this sea here. Let's get a bigger more yellow here. Right, okay. Yes, I think let's clean up the brush a bit and see if we can put in a few more brighter whites in these places. I'm looking at my screen now, just wondering, Yes, let's get some white. Let's bite the bullet a little bit. Wondering whether I should put a little bit of warmth in there, a bit yellower. Yes, let's clean the brush. Put a little bit of ochre and yellow and orange. Try and warm some of these reflections up. Certainly was a bright and warm time when I was there. Some right. A little bit of orange there. Let's give that a... Let's put some in here. And what about a bit of magenta? Yes, I think that's what we need. I need to have little dabs of colour to help suggest it. And here we've got some harbour lights there. Reflections coming down. I wonder whether, I think perhaps I better put some light on the castle itself. So let's make sure I got a clean brush. What can I got here? I want. Oh, I've got a little. Look at this one. Tiny little sable, which my father had. Heaven knows what he did with that. But, yes, we can get some highlights there, here and there. Suggest the battlements a bit better. Yes, I think that's what we've got to do. I need to put some here. Let's get some whites. Few properties here, and I think there's one or two up here. And put a few lines to suggest the waves. The tide was in when I came here. Get a bit more yellow in there. Reflection. Yes, I could put a lot of detail into this waterfront actually. But I'm wondering, should I put a little darker there, I think, to act as a foil to the bright lights that are there on the front. You've got to have your darks reading well. Right. Right. Now I'm wondering whether I should get a little bit darker. So let's get some umber, some blue. Just darken up this seawall a bit. Just a little bit. Right. And also along there perhaps. Right. Now I've got a little dark coming into here. A little rocky outcrop. Let's just see if I can bring some of that in. Actually, I wonder whether I could use a palette knife. Let's see. Yes, a little bit of texture there. And here as well. Let's go with that. It's barely visible, the colour, of course, this time of night, but there was some light. Right, I think we could leave it now. I think we've just about done enough. Well, there we are. That's my oil of Gorey Castle in Jersey and the Jersey Channel Islands. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, be handy if you did. It helps the channel grow and gives me some feedback as well. There you are. Thanks for watching.